Good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time at such short notice to come to Roots Hall. An interesting day. After 25 years as chairman, I'm announcing I have launched a formal process to explore the sale of Southend United Football Club or bringing on board new investment partners. Southend United's parent company has undergone a strategic review as part of a formal process designed to maximise on Southend United's widely recognised potential and to enable the club to fully capitalise upon the significant infrastructure that is being delivered at the new stadium at Sir Fossett's Farm. The introduction of a new custodian or investment partner will not be fast-tracked, but will follow due diligence with the assistance of the club's appointed advisors, American-based sports agents, General Sports Worldwide LLC, who have overseen successful sale and purchase of sporting clubs both in the UK and the USA. I and the board trust their expertise to deliver the club's objectives. It will come to no surprise to you that the strength of Southend United lies in the passion of its fan base, its historical and cultural importance to the city, and the value of its relocation to a new state-of-the-art stadium at Fossett's, a project that has never been closer. I'm delighted to share with you some updates. The £2 million new training facility is almost complete and should be ready for use when players return from the closed season. Completion of the club's new training ground represents the first phase of infrastructure, enabling the stadium and residential phases to commence. Tenders for those works, both stadium and residential, have now been received, with works programmed to commence later this year. I, together with our contracted development partners, institutional funders and our partners at the City Council, remain committed to delivering at pace an outstanding scheme at Fossett's from which Southend United and the wider city will benefit for generations. New stadium and its commercial income generating opportunities will provide the infrastructure for the club to maintain a stable financial footing, enabling the Blues to fulfil its long-held potential on the pitch and transform the club into a profitable enterprise. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the team here at Southend United for the last quarter of a century, led most recently by CEO Tom Lawrence, from the matchday staff welcoming fans to Roots Hall, to the departments you rarely see. Their dedication, support and commitment has been invaluable in contributing to our future. Thank you. While I'll be happy to answer questions following today, I do not intend to make further announcements regarding the strategic review unless and until the board of the Southend United Football Club has approved a specific transaction or another course of action requiring a formal announcement. I'm happy to take a few questions.
Why now, Ron?
I feel it's right. Feel the time is right. I've had a landmark birthday this year, and I need more time to focus on the transaction at Fossett's. Tom Lawrence is very capable of running the day-to-day operation, and I'd like to spend more time with my family.
Have you been approached by anyone potentially to buy the club?
Have I spoken to anybody?
Yeah.
No.
How do you think they'll react?
I don't think they'll be affected by it. We will be looking for a smooth transition from where we are into the new stadium, and they will be unaffected. I think players as a whole look to their manager. I don't think they look to the chairman. This increases the club's stability rather than instability, and therefore they should be pleased.
Ron, the supporters groups had called for a meeting with you, I understand. Is there any news on when that's going to be?
Paul Fitzgerald requested that for next week, but that may be overridden by what we say today.
Will there be funding between now and when the club is eventually bought, or will that continue to be a worry in terms of wages?
We put £2 million to the club 2 weeks ago. The intention is to have that, as I said before, a smooth transition from where we are now to the new ownership. That's important.
Yeah. And obviously we've got the embargo at the moment and the deadline next week. Is there anything that might be able to be sorted?
Tom Lawrence is in touch with HMRC. We're trying to negotiate an arrangement with them. Will we make it? I don't know, but we're trying.
Is HMRC why we have the embargo then? Is that the
Primarily, yeah.
and is the actions of the fans had any sway in your decision, or is it solely down to you?
No, not at all. I mean, I think that all chairmen get shouted at from time to time. No, it says no reference to this whatsoever. If I'm to jog back when my first thoughts emerged, it was probably during the pandemic, when Roots Hall was like a morgue, and the feeling was different at that time. But over time, we've become very, very busy with the project. That will provide a sustainable future for the football club, and that's always been my objective. Roots Hall is a money pit. It absorbs money. I put 3.6 million into the club in 14 months. That's not sustainable. So the sooner we can get the project underway and the club transferred to the new ground, then it will be sustainable.
Yeah, and with that amount of money that you're having to put in, is that a reason behind the season ticket increase, which has obviously frustrated some fans recently?
Chris, the season ticket increase will not make much of a dent in the investment, but I think with people not buying their season tickets is not helping the club's finances. So I hope that's acknowledged as an opportunity to for them to engage with the club and commit, as we've all been doing, to its future.
Yeah. Apologies if I missed it in the original statement. Is there a set date where you've got in your mind that you want it to be completed by?
This process could take many months. In an ideal world, I would like to see that transition happen in time for the new custodian to put their DNA on the club for next year. So by July, August, if they miss that window, that will not be possible. Yeah. It won't be fast-tracked. We will not be selling to people who we do not think will look after the interests of the club.
Yeah, and when you say next year, just to clarify, you mean the start of next season rather than...
Next season, yeah.
Cool. And in terms of players, obviously we lost Casper Rapata. Is hopefully this news means that we might not lose any others. Is that a concern?
That's subject to an appeal that's been taking place on Tuesday.
Where's that? Was that with the league or is that?
It's the FA.
Cool. Thank you very much.
So when you said that the initial idea came to you, or the initial thoughts came to you during the pandemic,
well, it was a very dull time, the pandemic, and I think life changed for all of us. Working from home, very few people working here. But I need more time to do all the things that I have to do, and I don't want to undermine the interests of the football club by spreading myself too thinly.
So would you say the fact that the last HMRC settlement went so close to the wire, and you told us it was going to be very close anyway, and everything else that's happened in the intervening months almost sort of pushed you towards this decision to say, actually, now is the time?
No, I think as a family, I've got a much wider interest that I want to spend time with. So I think it's been an evolution over 3 years, not over the last 18 months.
And will you work
I was never going to be here forever. I think quarter of a century is quite a long time. So, yeah.
And will you work alongside, so a new owner will come in and they'll be on the football side of things? Will you carry on, obviously, with the stadium, so you'll be working quite closely?
Undoubtedly, yeah. I think that it won't be. There'll be a transitional period, and we will choose people who are partners to come with us into the new stadium. But I won't have any involvement from that moment onwards in the operational arrangements with the football club.
And will it be you that owns the new stadium, or will it be?
We will own the new stadium, but if the new owners wanted to buy the new stadium, then we're happy to negotiate with them. In fact, in many respects, I do feel that taking the club and the stadium as one is a very sensible solution. But of course, for that degree of wealth, may not be available to everyone who's interested in buying a football club. But we're not interested in per se being landlords. We'll set up the club so it's sustainable, and that income from that stadium will go to the benefit of the football club.
Have you got a price in mind that you're willing to sell at, or where are we at with
All I can say, Chris, is that the investment into the new stadium will never be repaid by the purchase price.
How attractive do you think Southend United as a football club is to purchase at the moment, given it's not in the Football League?
Well, it was very attractive to me.
With all due respect, it was in a very different situation when you took over, and it was a Football League club, wasn't it?
It was at the bottom, and it was in debt to £4.5 million, which we paid off. We decapitalised that into rent of £502,000 per annum, and we've never charged a penny. I've never taken a penny out of this club for 25 years. So I guess that demonstrates my commitment to it. For a new buyer, I think it's a wonderful opportunity. How often do you get the opportunity of buying a football club and moving into a new stadium probably 21 months later?
What they will be taking on, presumably if they buy the club, they'll be taking on its associated debts.
Well, what debt there is, yeah, but they haven't got £2 million of debt that they had 2 weeks ago.
Right. And so just to go back to what you said initially, you brought a firm in to help, a company to come in and help with the sale. Is that correct? And did you say it was a USA backed?
They are. They're an American firm. Although Jez Moxey, who you may have heard of, runs the English operation.
Okay, so they have a track record in.
They do,
sort of
very much so. Yeah, they're very good people, and I know Jez well. He's trusted. And Andrew Appleby was one of the owners of Derby County until he sold it in 2015. So they've got a good understanding of the English market and also the American market, which is finding favour with English football clubs, such as Wrexham.
Will you be sad to hand it over?
Inevitably, there's a sadness, but one can't be in the same place forever. We have to move on, and this is a good time to pass the baton when the club can have an outstanding future. I think that the potential at Southend and its demographic is enormous. I've always thought that, but that potential will never be fulfilled from Roots Hall. So now we've got visibility through to the new stadium. I think it's a great opportunity for someone to take it on, and we will assist that prospect as much as we can.
And just to reiterate, ideally, in an ideal world, you would like the new investment, the new buyers to come in, buy the club, and then eventually take on the stadium as well. You believe that?
Yes, I think in an ideal world, actually from day one. But if that's not possible, then we're happy to talk to any potential buyer about the purchase of the stadium. It should be exciting times for everybody associated with the club.
And just to go back into what you said as well, you said that if someone came in and bought the club and bought the stadium as well, it wouldn't pay back everything that you've...
No, it's impossible.
Put in. It's impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Mm. Sadly, it's impossible.
How much do you think you put in over the years then?
Over 25 million. I don't like to think about it too much.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Keep you awake at night.
Yeah. That's $1 million a year, isn't it? Could have done a lot with that. It's my son's inheritance.
Is that why it's here?
just double checking. And I know you thank the staff as well, and obviously the staff have been through quite a lot with having to wait.
The staff have been brilliant, Tom Lawrence's staff, and he has been fantastic, and he's put up with a great deal and shouldered many of the pressures, and he should be rewarded as a consequence of that, whoever I sell to. That is what you want me to say, Tom, isn't it?
You're recording that, Matt.
Yeah.
Well, it's not often the press are lost for words, is it?
That's good, thank you.
Make the most of this moment, because we will not be making any more announcements until there's something positive to say.
So how does the company go? How does the company go about finding investment and finding buyers? Is it advertised, or do they go and source people who may have got into contact with them? How does the process work?
People do contact us from time to time. I mean, oddly, it's almost spooky that we had somebody yesterday write to us and somebody from New York the day before. But you know, a lot of people perhaps not as serious or thought through what this entails. So all inquiries will be dealt with by our appointed agents. And how they go about it, they have their own black book and a very wide market across Europe and America.
Given the way the financial world is at the moment, would you expect there to be more so from overseas than in this country?
Well, I think the economic downturn is not just in the UK. I think it's affecting America too, and certainly parts of Europe. With the war in Europe, that's inevitable. But that doesn't mean to say that all money from entrepreneurs has dried up. And where there's an opportunity, people invariably find the money. We did to discharge the debt to HMRC in the most difficult of times. So I think that over a period, and I think that the economic climate that we're currently suffering will improve. Not perhaps within the period that we'd like to see somebody take control of the club and maximise the opportunity for next season, but people will looking beyond the immediate next quarter or two, I think.
And just to be clear as well, you are looking for buyers for the football club rather than someone to come in and say, look, we can invest, but we'd like you to carry on, or we don't want to be.
Yes. Yeah. They need to control it. Anyone who's investing in a way that we'd like to encourage should be making the final decision.
Is the only one you're already talking to that could be seen as a serious potential?
Other than you, Chris, no.
Got £2.50 rather than 25. That's my point wrong, but.
Well, I'm talking to you at the moment, so but no, none at all. We only formally appointed GSW yesterday, so it's new to everybody. Although that we've had in mind for some considerable time who those parties will be.
Have they ever seen the sale of any other clubs before?
They're engaged in the sale of clubs in the UK right this moment, and that includes Scotland. And of course, Jesuit was involved in the sale of Stoke originally, and then Wolverhampton Wanderers. One last question. Who's it going to be?
I've got one. You haven't attended many games recently, if any. Will you be starting to come again now after this announcement?
Not especially. I will attend games from time to time. But as I said, I want to spend more time with my family, and I've really enjoyed the weekends. I've attended over 1,200 games in 25 years, home and away. My wife hasn't seen me on a Saturday for a very long time, although she has attended Roots Hall on many occasions and actually come to some away games as well. So I've enjoyed that, and I'll continue to enjoy that, but I will continue to support Southend near and from far. No, that will continue probably for the rest of my life.